Hello, everybody. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. We're on the Smart Connected group, and I have a very special guest for you tonight. Welcome, Paul Newton.
Hello, Jane. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I feel really, really special that you've asked me. This is awesome.
You are special, Paul, and you've got lots of special things to say tonight because Paul is a magician, a mind reader, and a hypnotist. And he's got a very exciting business, Mental Theft. And I'm going to just hand over to you, Paul, so that you can tell us what your business, Mental Theft, actually does.
Okay, right. So, mental theft is all about the fact that if a mind reader could steal your personal information, what could he get away with while you don't even know he's doing it? So, while you've got scammers trying to get you, trying to steal your PIN number and steal your password and steal your username, I turn up and I tell you I'm going to do it. And then while I'm doing some magic tricks, hopefully, I steal silly things like your password, your username, your mother's maiden name, the name of the first road you lived on, a word you're thinking of. This stuff to me, if I get away with this, hopefully it proves to you that you need to do more about your security. That's what mental theft is all about, just educating as many people as possible to just look after their security. It's that simple. It really is.
And you were telling me, because we've had a chat, haven't we, before we started tonight, you were telling me that you've been into lots of businesses and within a few minutes of going in there, you've got into their bank accounts.
Yeah. I mean, I had one lovely business just before lockdown who were adamant. They had their security director, they had the MD of the company telling me how I will never get into their systems. Then they offered me a little walk around on the office. And while I did the walk around, I saw 5 different people who had post-it notes up with their username and their password on it. So when we got back to the MD's office, I said, look, tell you what, if you honestly think that I can't get into your systems, then you don't have to pay me a penny. But if there's any chance I get in, then you have to pay me a consultancy fee that will work out later. And he went, yeah, no worries. Got him to log out of everything on his computer. I sat down at his desk, started the computer up, logged into their accounts department, set me up as a supplier so I could pay myself whatever I wanted, and just looked at him and went, so how much should we agree on then? And the face of him and his IT director, oh my word, I thought they were going to throw me out the building. I really did. But yeah, sometimes it's that easy. And one of the post-it notes that I saw was on a computer screen, and it was in full view of the car park. So you didn't even have to be in the building to see this username and password. You could just walk past the building and look in the window. It's
It's
amazing.
extraordinary,
Yeah.
actually.
And people, because we get so complacent and so relaxed about our security, the scary thing is that most people watching this will use the same password in more than one place. Okay. Now, if you that was a knowing look there, Jane.
Guilty, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't say that, should I? But
No, not to me.
no.
I love. We're like 3 minutes into this, and you're already going, "Oh no,
Yeah.
um." But it's right. So if you use the same password in more than one place, all I have to do is figure out that one password, and then how many things of yours can I get into? Now, the worst one possible is your main email. If you use a password that is made up of a few words, and maybe you've changed some of the letters to numbers, I can show you a program that can hack that in about 10 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, seriously, Jane, seriously, honestly, hand on heart, if you do this, please go use a password manager. It will it will help you change your passwords. It will make them completely random, so none of your passwords are ever the same. One of the best ones out there, and I do not get any kickback for saying this, is called LastPass. Okay, if you can't find it, Jane, send me a message after this. I'll send you a link to the company. But yeah, LastPass, it's seriously worth its weight in gold.
LastPass, everybody. So
LastPass.
yeah,
And honestly, anyone that's in your group, what I'll do is I'll go and find a link to the correct place, and I'll put it in under this video if that helps.
I'm
How's
sure
that?
that would be very helpful.
And then they don't even have to admit to me that they need to click on the link.
That's absolutely amazing. So what you do is you go into these businesses, you distract them with your magic, you
Yep.
get them to sort of go wow, because you're doing all these fantastic magic tricks. Then you hypnotize them, and then you make sure that when they're under in a trance, that they give you all their personal information. Is that right?
Not quite. I don't even need to hypnotize them. Now, I have
Okay.
used hypnosis when I've broken into some clients' buildings.
Oh,
Okay.
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I have to be careful in case the police watch this. Obviously, it's not fun. Don't do this at home, kids. Whenever I do something like this, there is a massive contract between myself and the client, and my solicitor hates these contracts. But working it all out to say that I'm legally allowed to try and break into the building is a really weird contract to have. But you have to have it in place. And I have at some points used hypnosis on specific guards to make them look the other way when I want them to, or to make them believe that I'm a member of staff, things like that. That is possible. Honestly, though, the nicking of passwords, the stealing of that kind of stuff, the mind reading tricks that I've been doing as tricks and entertainment for years, I do that while people are fully awake. I do that while I'm up on stage. So I could be on stage delivering a talk and telling a story about how I broke into somewhere. And at the same time, I'm picking on Jeremy, who's on table 8, because earlier he said there was no way I would ever get his credit card number and his PIN number.
Oh.
So while I'm doing the magic trick and Jeremy is relaxed and the rapport build is there, and he's feeling like he's just being entertained, his guard is down completely.
Wow.
That's when I start doing mind reading on a specific subject while it looks like I'm just entertaining. Now this is kind of what scammers do. They want you to look that way while they're doing something here.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And that's do you mind if I tell you how mental theft started in my head?
No.
Okay, I was doing a magic show for a very well-known military arm of our government. I was doing a gig. I walk around, I do close-up tricks, and I mess about. I walked up to this table of 6 people. There was 3 guys, 3 girls. They were all dressed up in finery. They looked gorgeous, and I started doing some close-up magic. Now, while I was there, one of these guys was a skeptic and a loudmouth. And he was heckling me, but it wasn't the nice fun heckling. He was really trying to get nasty. So I thought, in the way that I do, this is like a red rag to a bull. Do not heckle a seasoned entertainer. Okay, you won't come out of it nicely. So by the end of entertaining at this table, I'd been doing mind reading on him, and the whole time he was saying mind reading's not possible. It's a load of rubbish. It's a load of bunkum. He used words that I would never use on your show. Okay, so at the end of it, I took out one of my business cards. I wrote down his mother's name, his username, his password, his PIN number, and his first dog's name on the back of a business card. I then said to him, look, you know that mind reading's not possible. So just have a look at that. Tell me if it's right and tell your friends the type of information I've written. And he did. He looked at it. His face just went white as a sheet. His jaw dropped a bit and he went, that's all correct. How'd you do that? I said, but we both know mind reading's not real, so there's no way I could have done that. I've got to go and entertain other people. And I walked away. He then chased me, grabbed me by the shoulder, and he said, look, I need to understand if this is real. Now, when someone's like that, you don't really want to take the magic element away. You don't want to just go, look, I did it through body language or behaviors or psychology. So I was a little bit mean. Okay. I said to him, okay, can I ask you some questions? And he went, yeah. I said, number 1, could I have brought any of my friends in with me to help me and they've lifted information from you and passed it to me? And he went, no, to get on this base, you have to have your driving license or your passport and we check your car. Right, brilliant. Number 2, would any of your friends given me that information to help me rather than you? And he said, no way, because I trust them with my life on a daily basis. It wouldn't happen. I went, brilliant. Question number 3. If you've told the truth for those 2 questions, how can mind reading not be real? And again, he just went whiter. He looked nervous. And then he said, Well, it must be. And I said, perfect. I've got to go and entertain other people. I've got to go. He said, no, 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 no. I don't think you've thought about this. Imagine what you could do to all the small and medium and large businesses in the UK if you went around and stole their passwords. That was when mental theft was born in my head. That was when I thought, he's got a really good point, and so many people do not take this seriously.
Wow.
So seriously, Jane, in all honesty, if we met up face to face and I started doing some magic tricks and you were entertained and you were smiling and you were having fun, if I stole your username and password and you didn't know I had it, how long could I be in your accounts for without you noticing?
Well, who knows?
It would be until you changed the password, probably.
Wow.
Or it'd be until I take a lump sum from somewhere and you then know you've got to change passwords.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
isn't that scary?
And setting up a password manager takes minutes.
Okay, so
So I've just done some work for LastPass.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it first thing tomorrow morning. LastPass.
LastPass. I will do my best to get the link on there tonight for all of your followers.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. So, look, there's, shall we say, we've all got shadow sides and angels, let's just say.
Yep.
So, you know, the dark art of mind reading.
Yeah.
Very interesting, isn't it? And we were talking about this actually before we started the interview, because I was saying I would like to find my ideal man and hypnotize him, because I don't really think I can get him any other way. You know, I want to hypnotize him into falling in love with me and wanting to be with me for the rest of his life, so that I could just basically grab my ideal man and there he is. He's never going to go anywhere and he just wants to be with me and he thinks I'm wonderful. And can I do that? Will you teach me?
Number one, I didn't think I'd be saying to this, but we need to work on your mindset, because there are so many men out there who would be amazing with you or for you. And I know you could get any one of them you pick. Okay. So first of all, you don't need to do the whole hypnosis thing. Yes, I believe it. I love it. I want to. I just want a robot. Well, this has taken a whole turn that I wasn't expecting. Teach everyone how to hypnotize the perfect man. No, but yeah. There's an argument with hypnotists and hypnotherapists about, could you hypnotize someone to shoot someone? Okay. Now, any decent grown person would say that picking up a gun and shooting their best friend would be one of the worst things they could possibly do. It would just be heinous. It's a horrible crime. Don't know how anyone could do it. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to do that to any of my business partners or my friends, or, you know,
yeah, even the ones you don't like that much. Yeah, it just wouldn't happen. Okay.
No.
However, if I said to you, and this is going out there for Star Wars fans, if I said to you, you are playing a game of Star Wars, you're Han Solo and your best buddy is Darth Vader, if I could make you imagine that so well and so realistically, would you have any problem picking up that laser gun, pointing it directly at your friend and pulling the trigger?
Well,
it's a game.
Because they wouldn't be my friend anymore. They'd be my enemy.
There you go. So the question then is, how far can you push it with hypnosis? And if you word things in the right way, you could make the person believe they're not doing anything bad in the first place. Okay, so yeah, we both just agreed that picking up a gun and pointing it at someone and pulling that trigger is the worst thing you can possibly do. And then within 30 seconds of changing the story slightly, you're okay with picking up that gun, pointing it at that person and pulling the trigger.
Well, I mean, I guess I was just thinking, if it was like a baddie who was gonna, you know, ruin the world.
Yeah, they're coming to attack your friends in this game, and yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
had to defend the people that you really loved, unfortunately, and then you had to kill somebody because, you know, in the process, because you were saving other people. That would make you a goodie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it's a game. You've still got to think it's a game. You're seeing this as a game, and still today, you know, paintball. Well, not with the lockdown, but paintball organisations are making money because friends like to shoot each other in a game.
Mm.
So my argument is, can the things that a hypnotist wants to happen, can they be worded in a way that would work for most people's morals? Now
Mm.
you look at it that way, yeah, then it becomes a very, very strange world where we can do almost anything we want.
Okay, okay. So Paul, is hypnotism just a more extreme version of hypnotherapy, for example? Because, you know, hypnotherapy is something people use to become more confident or give up smoking or whatever.
Yep.
Is hypnosis just like hypnotherapy is like the 10% version? You know, it's like the kind of you know, the I don't know, the sort of light alcohol, if you like, and hypnotism is kind of like the heavy duty spirits,
I
unlike
like that. I like that. So hypnotherapy is almost the Bacardi Breezer of the world,
the Bacardi Breeze.
and hypnotism is some deep dark drink that you bought in France that isn't legal over here. Yeah, yeah. I quite like that.
Like tequila with that worm in that kind of
Oh, I haven't done that for quite a while, Jane. I, I love that you pick on tequila there. You knew me when I used to go to Spain. That's all I'm saying. But okay, so hypnotherapy is all about relaxation and getting people into a very nice and happy place where they're so relaxed that they can open their mind to different possibilities and different changes that they can make. So what we do there is, if you think about it, is we just bring somebody down nice and gently, nice and gently, nice and gently until we get them to the point where we can work with them. A hypnotist takes you from that point right up there to down there in about 5 seconds,
wow.
if they can. Okay. Now, to the point, one of my buddies, I will honestly say, I think he's a better hypnotist than I am. The things I've seen him do and get away with is just amazing. He got this one girl up on stage. She was lovely. It was about 2,500 seater venue. I was his stagehand and helping him out backstage with things. He saw this girl. She wanted to come up and she wanted to try hypnosis. He looked at her. There's a look in some people's eyes where you just go, you are going to drop so easily. This is unbelievable. All he said to her was, do you see that chair over there? She said, yes. He said, as soon as you sit down on that chair, you're going to go into the most lovely state of relaxation and full on hypnosis that you have ever experienced. She almost ran to that chair, sat down, and went into sleep. And that was all he had to say to her. Whereas you'd have someone like myself, he'd say that to me, and I'd go, it's not happening. It's just not happening. So human beings are an amazing grey zone of possibilities. So you've got the people who are really easy to put under, all the way over to the people who just won't go unless they feel so comfortable it's unbelievable. And as a hypnotist, we can spot the difference.
And how can you spot the difference?
It's learning. So you know what you were saying about salespeople with rapport. Some amazing salespeople just have the gift of rapport, and they can become almost one with the person they're selling to, and they can understand them, and that rapport is like that straight away. After years of doing hypnosis and practicing and trying things and messing up and getting it wrong and finding you can't do this and you can do that and this works for you but this doesn't, but weirdly it works for him but won't work for you, after a while you just kind of go, I've got them, they're in my head. And weirdly for me, the alpha males of the group are the easiest to get.
Are they really?
Whereas you can talk to other hypnotherapists or hypnotists who will say they're the worst.
Okay.
But for me, the alpha males of the group are the ones that I go for.
And why is that?
I use the fact that they normally want to be in the position that I'm in.
Okay.
And I start to use that knowledge to let them believe they're walking into that position.
Mm.
And then once I do a magic trick, there's a weird correlation between that moment I do a magic trick and your brain is fried and hypnosis. So I'll normally get the alpha male. I'll make them feel nice and relaxed, make them feel all happy, make them feel that I'm their best friend. Then I'll do a something that just makes their brain go, what the hell just happened?
Mm.
And that's the moment that I put them into sleep.
Wow.
And it's lovely. It is lovely. And I've had people that have come up on stage with me and they've become lifelong friends. I've had people that have come on stage with me and they've told me that they've been trying to kick their 50-a-day smoking habit, at the end of the show. And then I go, brilliant, we've got this. And I put them in again and they're off smoking within like 5 minutes.
Wow. Really?
So I never say I do the hypnotherapy stuff, but with my role of good people trying to help good people, if somebody says to me, I've got this horrible habit that I know is killing me, I'll try and help them.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing.
Mate, I love it. The stuff you can do, the people you meet, and the things that you can get away with. I love my job at the moment, Jane.
It sounds great. So, Paul, I've got a question, because a lot of entrepreneurs, obviously, their businesses or their business success depends on them selling their product or service.
Yeah.
So it's really bad news when you're putting all this effort into producing something and people are saying no, or they're saying, I'll think about it, or maybe next time, or whatever. Oh, it's a bit too expensive, or I just need to speak to my husband or my wife, or whoever. All those kind of rejections. So
Yeah.
do you have oh, hang on a sec, we've got WhatsApp, and is it just me who's lost the connection? Oh, I hope nobody's lost the connection. I'm seeing it fine.
Yeah, we seem to be running okay.
Yeah, seems to be running okay. So do you have any tips for salespeople or entrepreneurs who are, selling their product or service to other people?
Yes, I do. Number one, network. You and I talked about this earlier. Networking with people, find the people that like you and you like them in the first place. You will have a lot of experts try to talk to you about mirroring and how to mirror a prospect.
Mhm.
But the fact is, if you're networking with people that you like and you trust them, you don't need to push the mirroring thing too much, because you're already there. You're
Right.
already a similar animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mirroring does work,
Hmm.
but please practice it. Find somebody that understands it and learn from them. I have seen people try and do mirroring and do it badly, to the point that it just annoyed the prospect.
Right.
Okay. And we can all go onto YouTube and learn bits about mirroring and bits about psychology, but if you learn it badly, you're going to look like the magician who can't carry a pack of cards. Just rapport. The best thing you can do is have good rapport with another person. Now, I love the fact, for people who are watching this, you possibly don't know this, but Jane makes a point of meeting up with her guest in the studio before you start recording. And actually, Jane, that chat we had before this was lovely.
Yeah.
We just sat down and had a chat, and we messed about a bit. And then it was like, oh, okay, it's 2 minutes to. We've got to start actually doing stuff and making sure we're ready for this. And that means when you do start recording, people get the natural us, because we've already done is the light on? Is it working? Does this work? Can you hear me? You've got past all the fear points and you've just got normal rapport. So yeah, learn a bit of psychology, learn a bit about mirroring, and do the best you can with the rapport that you've got. And seriously, follow someone like Jane.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. The stuff that you've got on your podcast as free information, that could be a massive course in itself.
Indeed. I've interviewed some really, really interesting people, you amongst them, of course, but
Oh, thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
it's true. I mean, I'm fascinated by people and what makes people tick, and rapport and resonance, and the role of relationships in terms of business success, and all of those things. And people are the most important factor in
Yeah,
terms of any entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur that wants to grow their business, really, they have to start with the people, don't they? That's
they've got to, and knowing your market is massive, because if you aim for the right market, you're going to walk into the right people.
hmm
So I don't aim for people that don't care about security. I don't aim for people that couldn't care less about their people inside the industry.
yeah.
I aim for the people who are worried about their staff. They're worried about their customers. They want to cover their people's backsides.
Mm.
So that's where I walk into, and then I help them do exactly that.
Mm.
So yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant. So Paul, you
I
also.
just saw a comment come up, and someone said, "So true. Jane has lovely rapport with guests."
Oh, that's really nice.
See,
Jace, thank you. Jace tunes in regularly, actually. She's one of my fans and one of my listeners. So we have an appointment to view, don't we, Jace, every Thursday evening, which is lovely. It's
it
really
is.
great. Yeah, so thank
Yeah.
you.
This is it. People that follow me and help push the stuff that I'm doing, I don't think they realize how much they help us.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's so important and so valuable. And actually I've had people contact me because obviously I've been doing the podcast for a while. I'm having a
Yeah,
conversation with somebody tomorrow. People just contact me out of the blue and they say, I love your podcast. I've been listening to it for a while and I've been doing this and doing that, and I think we need to have a chat. And then they want to, me to get involved in mentoring them or whatever. And the nice thing about that is that I don't even know them, but they have found me, and then they have felt that rapport or that resonance or whatever, and they thought she's my kind of a person.
yeah,
And isn't that lovely when that happens, that
yeah.
somebody thinks, hey, wait a minute, you're my kind of a person? That's great, isn't it?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm,
It's just amazing.
yeah.
And when I put on a show, if it's an open show where people can buy tickets to it, and you look into the audience, and there's people you recognise from another show you did.
Yeah.
The fact that they've even taken a night out to make a point of travelling to wherever I was doing that.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
It really is, and everybody's got so many demands on their time these days. So if
Yep.
they choose to spend some of their time with you, it is actually a huge compliment, because attention is, and I often say this, it's the scarcest resource these days.
Oh, yes. And whenever anyone comments on one of my YouTube episodes,
hmm
I myself and Jesse, so my mate Jesse does all my technical background stuff for me.
Yeah.
Myself and Jesse always make sure that one of us responds, because the fact that that person's watched a show and then commented because they've got a question or they want to make a point,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That is awesome. And I love the fact that we're in a position where we can do that. It's, yeah, sorry, I'll get off my high horse now.
Indeed, indeed. So Paul, love to hear about how COVID-19 and lockdown has impacted you, because you're a performer, right? I mean, you're somebody who you do live shows.
Yeah.
Uh, it's been a very, very difficult time for people in entertainment, hasn't it?
The entertainment world has taken an absolute battering.
Yeah.
I know that some of my mates who will watch this, they'll either be on here now or they'll be on here later watching a catch up. Um, so my background was I was a theatre technician as well.
Mhm.
So I was either a technical in theatres or I was performing in theatres. So
Yeah.
I've got buddies that run West End theatres in London.
Yeah.
I've got buddies that run touring venues all around the country,
Mhm.
and they've taken an absolute kicking. My two businesses, so the entertainer business and the mental theft, both of them rely on groups of people to perform to.
Mm.
And I tell you what, Jane, I don't. Obviously, this is just a chat between me and you, and this will never go anywhere else.
No. No.
No, I don't mind telling you that for at least 2, maybe 4 weeks of the lockdown, I went into a horrible, depressed state and just, yeah, I hated everything. I just kind of went, I can't do this. I've just had this hand dealt to me that I cannot beat.
No. And
And I
yeah.
made stuff. I made stuff out of pallets for a couple of weeks. It was weird. I made new table for me and the wife in the garden. Um, But then I started getting messages of, Paul, what can mental theft do this online? Can you do this? Can you help my company with this? We're a bit worried because we want to make sure the building's secure, but we haven't got the normal amount of people there. And I started having companies ask me if I could do a tour of their building from a smartphone. And it was like week 3, I think, that one of my mates said, he goes, Paul, people still need your help. And maybe they need it now more than they did before. But I can remember thinking, I can't charge for this. I cannot charge money for sitting in my office in my back garden and working from there. And then he said, well, hold on, are you still delivering value? It's like, yeah. Then ask them what it's worth. And I did. So I now do online talks. I do online keynote talks. I had an idea for a book in my head for ages. I said stupidly to another friend that I'm thinking about trying to fund this book. She said, do it on a crowdfunder. Then a few people said, do it on a crowdfunder. And I went, that won't work. That'll get to £50 and it will drop dead. Nobody will touch it. Then Crowdfunder got in touch with me and said, if you do this, we'll do it at 0 fees. We will back it and we want you to do this. So I went, all right, okay, if I do this, if this raises £2,000, then I can get a grant for another 2,000, and that would be the launch in a way that I want this to happen. This will be the launch of the product perfectly. This will be the right way to do it. I said, and if I need to, if it only hits £800, I can do this, I think. It ended up raising £6,885.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And now, what a kick in the backside for me. I was sat there thinking, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to happen. This is going to hit £50 and stop. In the first hour, it went over £600.
Wow.
And I'm calling my buddy Jesse. And if you do ever go onto my YouTube channel, you will see Jesse. He's much prettier than I am, and he's much more eloquent than I am. I don't know why I'm the host of the show, but it's working so far. Okay. But he literally turned around and went, told you, now let's go make it work.
Wow.
And we did. And we did. Yeah, I've had some amazing organizations come to me and say, look, we want you to promote our product. And then I check if the product's good enough, if it's a massively secure company, if they can help my followers, then yeah, I'll put something out about it because I want people to be safe.
Yeah.
LastPass, I earn absolutely no money from LastPass whatsoever, but I promote it. There's a company called Aeris that I'm talking with, and they've helped massive health organizations cover their backside and stop hackers getting into them. There's a company called FreshSec who check people's emails for next to no cost each month. And these guys are now going, look, we've got the IT gurus, but we haven't got someone that can send the message out. And that's kind of turning into my job.
That's amazing.
What an awesome job to have, help people and secure them.
Yeah, fantastic. So Paul, we've got morning from Australia. I think this is Pix.
Oh my word, 5:30 a.m.
Viewers, yeah, tuning in at 5:30 a.m. here. So isn't that amazing? Isn't it incredible, really, the power of technology? Here we are having a chat with somebody who's in Sydney. That's where Pix is.
That is amazing.
Isn't it just?
I love that. And the fact and this will sit on your page as well and be looked at whenever people want to. That's awesome. I love that.
It really is. So Paul, tell us about your book then. What does your book cover?
Right. So it's going to be called Mental Theft and I Can Steal Your SH1T. Now there's a reason for the title, not just because I find it funny making people say SH1T, But the fact is that so many people in the UK will use a swear word for their password, and they will change one letter to a number.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I've never done that.
Do you know what? A lot of times it's the people that are sat in what you would consider the boring jobs.
Oh,
And then because their word is a bit sweary, they think it's naughty. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But the fact is, if you're using a well-known word and you're just changing one letter to a number, I'll get you. I will get you so easy. And then inside it, there's a load of stories about the break-ins that I've done.
oh,
There's a
great.
load of stories about scams that I've helped with.
Really?
There's stories about real scams going on. There's even on my website somewhere in one of the blogs, there's a one-page fact sheet about all the scams that are going on during COVID,
Oh, really?
and it's on there for free. You don't have to put your email address in. You don't have to put your phone number in. Just take it. It's in the blog section of mentaltheft.co.uk. There
Okay.
you go. Go find it. But yeah, and it's got the test and trace thing on there. It's got the people knocking on front doors asking for £50 to clean your driveway so it's COVID free. This is a lie, by the way. They can't do that.
Ah,
All of this stuff
all
is
right.
going to be in the book.
Great. So let's get into the top. What are the top 5 COVID scams then? What should
Oh,
people
the top
know?
5. Right. Number one, the one that I really don't like is the door knockers. And we're actually going to cover 2 scams in this one. The
Okay.
first scam is we're going to clean your driveway and get rid of COVID. Now, if they use the right chemicals and the right cleaning solutions, yes, it would get rid of any traces of COVID, but it would only be good for a couple of hours while it stays clean. As soon as any other material fly past it, like birds, animals walk across it, people walk across it, you could have anything back there again. Okay, it's not a case of clean the driveway and it stays clean forever. That doesn't work.
But it's extraordinary to actually think that people would be frightened enough about COVID to actually succumb to that one. I mean, really,
Yep.
if somebody knocked on my door and told me that they were going to clean my driveway of COVID, I'd tell them where to get off.
Yes, you would, right? But if they're charging I've heard of rates between £50 and £250 for a driveway clean, okay? But for every 20 people that tell them where to go, if one person says yes, they've just got to knock on 100 doors a day and they're making about £1,000 a day.
Well,
Yeah.
give people ideas.
And hopefully it'll help the nice people to stop them. Number 2, people that are knocking on doors and offering tests for COVID.
Ah,
Yeah. Now, I hate the fact that I even have to go through this one. The test for COVID itself is not very nice. You have to stick things in. You don't want to do it unless you really think you've got some of the symptoms. Okay. But what they'll do is they'll say, we've been sent to this area because there's been a case of COVID in the area. We're now going to test everyone in this area, and it'll only cost you £20 to £250. Now, the tests they have are pointless. It's not even a test. It's normally a cotton bud of some type, and they put it in your mouth and then they dab it in something and they say, oh, you're completely clean, aren't you lucky? It's pointless. Okay. Now, the reason that I hate this one, number one, if they had loads of tests, would they give them to door salespeople? There you go. Number 2, and this is what I think is really horrible. If they test someone that does happen to have COVID-19 and tell them they don't have it, that person's going to go walking around wherever they want because they will honestly believe they're completely clean.
exactly. So, yeah.
Test and trace one on the phone at the moment. I love our government to bits, honest. When they announced test and trace and the government bodies were asked on telly, what about fraudsters? They responded with, oh, no, nobody will defraud this because if you're speaking to a medical professional, you would know it.
Oh.
Yeah. How bad is that? That was just atrocious. And then literally the next day, the scam calls started of phoning somebody randomly up saying, we're part of Test and Trace. We've been told that we've got to send you a test. There is an admin fee of anywhere between £50 and £250, depending on what they think they can get away with.
Yeah.
They're not even really after that £50. They're after your credit card number and the 3 digits on your back.
Oh.
Once they've got them and they do a £50 check just to make sure that your credit card works, do you think they're going to stop using the credit card details?
Oh, goodness me. Oh,
Literally, as soon as Test and Trace was announced, they started doing that. It's disgusting, Jane. It's just horrible.
really is, isn't it?
It really is.
Mm.
Scams like fake MLM type businesses started popping up a lot because people were so scared about their jobs. People
Okay.
were so worried about their jobs that there was suddenly an offer of far too many scam MLMs that really weren't worth the paper they were written on. But it's all right, because to start up this business that will save your life and make sure you can keep earning money while you're in lockdown is only going to cost you £75. Give us your credit card details. And this is the thing, Jane, they work on emotions. If they can scare you enough and then give you a reason to hand over your credit card details, you'll do it.
Mm. That's really, really interesting because in fact, my sister was actually scammed by somebody calling up and saying, she was at my father's house and they said, oh, the whole computer it's all been completely compromised and everything has to be shut down straight away. And
Mm,
she just went into a complete tailspin and a complete panic. We're going to have to get on it straight away. We're going to have to change all the passwords. We're calling from the security company. We're going to have to go in straight away. And of course they were scammers and the whole thing.
yeah.
So,
There was it might still be available on BBC iPlayer now. There was a documentary on that exact scam.
oh, really?
And so there's a lot of scam hackers. So there's a lot of good people who spin the scam back on the hackers, and
Oh,
they infect the hackers' computers and take over them. Now, a lot of these guys hide their ID away. I don't blame them. They're going up against some really nasty people.
mm.
But one of them managed to take over the cameras inside the hacker's office.
Oh,
And he's got it on camera, this whole call center that is doing that exact scam that
wow.
your sister got done by.
You're kidding.
No, it's an amazing documentary.
What's it
If
called?
I've got time after this, I will find a link to it for you.
Really? I'd
Yeah,
love to see that,
it was so amazing that I had something like 12 people say, Paul, you need to go see this. Paul, you need to go see this. And you watch it, and seriously, there's 3 guys running this company who are directors of the company, and they're sat there talking about how to do new scams
Really?
and how we're going to get our call center doing new scams.
Oh my God.
And they're trying to make £20,000 a day.
Really? From doing this? It's just, it's an eye opener, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because, I often think that there are, this is the way that I like to think about the world because I work in property and there's a lot of bad people in property. I'm afraid that's just the case, right? So basically, because it's a largely unregulated industry, you get a lot of extremely slick salespeople. And anybody
yeah,
that works in property will know that there are some total sociopaths.
yeah.
And, when it really comes down to it, they're in that sector because they know that the chances of actually them getting caught and put in prison is a lot less likely than if they were operating in other sectors.
If
So,
they were found doing a Ponzi scheme of finance of any kind, that they would be in prison. If they're selling a course for property that actually doesn't give you any information, there's no law been broken.
no, or totally misleads people and sends them down the wrong track, for wasting time for years of their life because they actually believe in the rubbish that they spout about, you know, how you can become a millionaire and financially free in 9 months, and, you know, quit your job and just no money down, and you don't need any
Yeah.
money, just get started and do what. And it's like, you know, that is a scam, to be
Yeah.
honest, because it is
Yeah.
not true. Nobody
It's
with no experience, no properties, no experience, and no money can become financially free from property in 9 months. I mean,
no.
if anybody's watching this and they'd like to challenge me on that, here's an invitation. Come on my
Yeah.
podcast and prove me wrong.
What a great invitation. Prove us wrong on that, because I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes years of learning, understanding, knowing you could lose money, and you could lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, it's all right, because we'll just go and get this house for no money down and then sell it, because then it's all profit.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Sorry.
yeah.
Business people, you said that you have a lot of business followers. Something that I would warn them about is some of the grants that are going around. There are some very good grants. Okay, there are some very truthful grants. Be wary of anything going into your bank account that is labeled something like BBLS, something like that. There was a car dealership recently who was
Oh,
selling a car for 40 grand.
yeah.
Somebody got their bank details, applied for a loan for that company for exactly 40 grand, and said they were transferring the 40 grand into the bank account. It wasn't them transferring it, it was the loan from a bank, and it was labeled BBLS. They had said their company name was, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but this is it, it's there. And that guy, if that guy hadn't had the thought to go and check it with his bank and check, now that bank should get their backsides kicked.
Mm.
They really should, because they've authorized a loan without the owner ever authorizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's a whole different argument. But can you imagine that business if they'd handed over the keys and the documents to that car? That car could have been sold the next day completely legally and gone. And then a year's time, the bank would come along and go, right, you can start repaying that 40k loan now. What?
Indeed. I actually saw that video, and I think it went viral, didn't it?
It did. It did. Thankfully, loads of us just pushed it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the message to everybody is to be take cybersecurity seriously.
Yep.
Install LastPass or a password manager on your computer. This is something.
Perfect. If everyone did that, I'd be so happy.
Yep. And, you know, make sure that if somebody like Paul comes up and starts distracting you with his magic tricks, then you know, just be aware that he might be trying to steal your credit card details.
Beware of anyone in a trilby. That'll be fine.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you tonight. Thank you.
No, thank you for the opportunity, Jane. You're lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you everybody who tuned in tonight. If you're watching on replay, or if you're watching on YouTube, or listening on the Smart Connector podcast, I'd like you, Paul, I'd like you to just tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Awesome.
How they can find out more about you or see more of you.
Well, I tell you, right, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Paul Newton Magic. But basically, if you search mental theft, all one word, anywhere, you will find my group on LinkedIn. You'll find my group on Facebook. We're populating them now. We've only really just opened those two. Mental theft, the website. If you want to sign up to one of our emails, please do. I'm trying to give out as much of this information for as free as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. That was the reason for the book. For those people who can't afford to hire in a consultant for the day, they can buy the book for a tenner or whatever it will come out as. So I can still help people, but not charge them consultancy fees. There you go. Mental theft. Search that anywhere, you'll find me.
Mental theft. Thank you very much. We've got some lovely comments coming through as well. Great interview, Jane and Paul. Really, really useful. Jace is asking, does it apply to iPad as well, the LastPass manager? Yep. Okay, it does.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.